Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your speed dial.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP or like we got the all-tournament team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I sure got 17, and like stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher like been a part of like 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance!
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time.
Pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Sharp a little late, boys, at the spring game, obviously, as you can see. Couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's do it. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, and I thought, my God, if she gets offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, we live. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show, yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right. Nice start.
Big day.
Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. They're all kissing. Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from our Click Here Digital campus, as always, built by RMB Builders. RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew get in touch with them this holiday season. Looking for a great gift idea? How about a custom house? RMB-builders.com or RMB Builders on Instagram. Big Tuesday show, just like always. Guest line is filled up with a couple of award winners. We're going to talk to Brooke Kirchhofer from New Orleans.football at 7:45, and we're going to talk to Wilson Alexander from The Advocate, NOLA.com, coming up at 8:15 this morning. Brooke covers the Saints. Wilson covers LSU. Our phone line is brought to you by Southern Regional Medical Center. Real doctors, real solutions. Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan, BJ, and the entire crew over at Southern Regional Medical Center. Always appreciate their support. Get in touch with them today. You can find them at Southern Regional Medical Center online. Lloyd is here on this Tuesday edition. Stewie is here live on this Tuesday edition, as we said. Football. Also, Brian Kelly speaking with the media yesterday. But the All-American team, LSU, who had this great offensive run, was obviously the Heisman Trophy winner on Saturday night. A couple of pisses me more off that Malik Neighbors was just,
You don't buy the one vote?
No, I do not buy the one vote. I felt that, we were asking questions last week when Marvin Harrison was an invite to the Heisman Trophy, that's the quasi Biletnikoff right there.
That was the giveaway.
There it is. There's
giving it to
the
him?
Biletnikoff. Keep your one vote. One vote.
Lying.
The vote was done before you even turned the ballot in.
No, that's our guy Wilson. We'll have to ask him. He was the one that said he did say allegedly.
This is a DA election now.
Yeah.
This is a presidential election now.
Setting this thing up.
The deal is done before you even start the campaign. Marvin Harrison, in fact, I was telling the fellas this morning, I caught the replay of Ohio State. I've been up for a while, and
sometimes you get caught.
Woke little Jay up to go do our morning workout. We get to the gym about 4:45.
That man's in hell right now.
He's pissed. He should be.
Pissed off
I
from
woke
greatness.
him up. The trainer is out of town. No show. 5 a.m. I'm like, where?
Bro.
What is going on?
Bro, you're never
I'm
late
on
for
the
a
text
workout.
messages. I'm like, you coming, huh? And 10 minutes goes by. I was like, bro, I told you I was going to Costa Rica this week.
Man.
And you could work out with the other trainer. You said to hit him up. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, God, this isn't good.
Oh, you're not too
Not
different of a
good.
time zone. It's 7:08 there, so he's in Central Time.
Yeah, he's still Central Time.
Yeah.
He's
Central Time.
in Central America.
This is her, and she was, she was kind of like, now I've pissed her off.
Right.
Because I'm woken her up on vacation,
Damn.
wondering where she is.
It's tough.
So it's been a hell of a morning to get here to 7:09. I've already bagged the Ohio State, Georgia Peach Bowl, second, third, and fourth quarter from last season, which was a fantastic game.
Great game. Finished right at midnight.
The stroke of midnight, he missed. Coach, what a bad miss by the Ohio State place kicker. Who, Herb Street and Fowler are setting him up like guy has ice running through his veins.
Oh, yeah. They were, they were talking about.
This is setting up. The guy's name was Quaggles or Quiggles. And, he just snap hooks this thing left. C.J. Stroud, not known for his legs, probably played his best game running as a college football quarterback. I don't know why I'm going into this, but because Marvin Harrison probably won the Biletnikoff that night.
Yeah.
He was the best player, it felt like, on the field at the beginning of the game. He got knocked out in the end of the game. C.J. Stroud was ultimately thrown to you, me, and Lloyd out there. They had a couple of their playmakers knocked out. It was crazy who their wide receivers were at the end of the game. But, this whole year has been a parade for Marvin Harrison on how you're going to award this guy for just being a part of the sport, which, look, I get. He's talented, looks great, going to be a hell of a Sunday player.
All uniform team for sure.
Absolutely. But the way they treated him in award season has to be off-season discussion of how they changed the voting process. I would make it the Marvin Harrison rule. You invite this guy to the Heisman, you give him the Biletnikoff, and he's not even the best receiver in the country. And I'm just going by the numbers. Sure, our eyeballs say he's going to be great and everything. He passes the eyeball test. He'll be the first wide receiver taken off the board. He might be the most talented player in college football. He's probably going to be the best player in the draft. All that stuff. But from a numbers standpoint and what the award is rewarded for, he didn't finish the job. He didn't do the task. And other people did. And the further you get away from Malik Neighbors, he did make first team All-American yesterday. as he was a part of the AP first team. Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas made the third team. So Neighbors won't be this forgotten name when it comes to 2023 in college football, but he is going to be a guy, for at least the people who have followed it, covered it, should be someone who got robbed. I mean, he got robbed of the highest honor for the wide receiver play in college football, and in 2023, he was by far the best player at the spot, and he didn't get the award. That sucks. That sucks, man.
Do you know who won it last year?
Do I know who won it last year? Let me think about this. You know who won it last year, Stewie?
Mm-hmm. Pop quiz, Mr. Culotta.
No. Jordan Addison.
No. Mm-hmm. It's 2 years ago.
It was a year before.
Who's the best rookie wide receiver in the league right now?
That would not be the answer to the
not
question.
Be the answer?
No.
It's not Mahonky, is it?
Nah, not McConkey.
Who is it?
I think he's a voter. Think you had a splash year last year.
Yeah.
The team that
plays
kind
with
of
Tommy DeVito now, though.
It burst
Tommy
onto the
DeVito.
scene.
Plays with the Giants.
The Giants.
Yeah, but
golly, I'm blanking.
they came into Tiger Stadium on
an
bright
early morning.
11 a.m.
October.
and the game was over before it started.
Peyton Manning.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Jalen Hyatt.
Yep.
Golly, he was. I mean, he was the best receiver last year.
He had the best numbers.
Him and Marvin Harrison had the same stats this year. Like, Marvin Harrison's stats this year were the same as his last year. And Malik Neighbors' numbers blow both of those out the water.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying. Jalen Hyatt's case is much more akin to like Malik's case, where, okay, you burst onto the scene, have this massive year, and you get the trophy. That's what it should be. Yeah. Even though it feels like Marvin Harrison, even that year, I guess if you're able to vote after the bowl game, you would think that Marvin Harrison at that performance, even when he gets knocked out at half, he probably wins the award. But that's not how they do it, and I'm glad they don't do it that way. Even though, if they wait until after the year, all the way after the year, I guess you would get Jaden Daniels in the bowl game.
So do they, like, do the award show, like, remote now?
Yeah, what?
Because
I've never seen it like that. The production value of it was a little bit bizarre.
I was kind of confused because, like, I know, like, 2019.
Yeah, they had the Home Depot College Football Award
all of
show.
them were, like, there.
And they get, like, interviewed.
Yeah, and then Friday night, they're, like...
They were all zoomed
in. Like, this man, Marvin Harrison Jr. is, like, dressed up in his, like, in the locker room, basically, like, I guess.
Yeah, because I remember they would sit down with, like, Herbie or... Fowler and like do like a walk through and talk about the year. You get one or two questions with the family and then
kind of like
shuffle them out.
It was kind of like a Heisman 2.0.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's
just
kind of
for
like
the
a
other
miniature
awards.
Heisman ceremony.
Right.
I thought it was always kind of a good look for college football.
Because I remember like when LSU swept the awards ceremony, it was just.
Yes,
Coach O was just talk to his daddy.
Yeah, Coach O was doing
a
press tour.
It was beautiful.
But yeah, they ran the whole thing through like Bristol. Essentially, everybody was zoomed in, and they didn't even give them the award.
Yeah,
they
we'll mail this to you.
Yeah, they told the team early because you saw the whoever won the Thorpe for Navy. Was it Navy or Air Force?
No, Air Force.
Air Force. Like the team, he was told by somebody that was formerly on the team, so he knew before they announced the winner on TV. So like he wasn't surprised whenever they announced him. The team has to do like a faux celebration again. Parents are like zoomed in on another link,
right?
And it's just kind of like
it's all
just so janky when it could just be all right. Let's get all these
bring
kids
everybody to a ballroom.
Yeah, and you get to see like faces and names, and they get to commingle. It feels like that's the right way to do it. I don't know why they went back to 2020 or the 2020 award system.
And they get to kind of like push their own brand.
Yeah,
like, for sure. No, I always thought that it was kind of a good play, a good look for college football. Some other names on the AP All-American team in which Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors were selected to the first team squad. Travis Hunter is the all-purpose player. Second year out of Colorado. Good to see him on an All-American team for as good of a player as he is. I know he missed some time, but by far one of the best players in college football this season and a guy that deserves to be, in my opinion, on a first-team All-American squad. Brock Bowers, tight end, third year at Georgia. He'll be in the NFL next season. Ollie Gordon, the second-year running back, guy who won the Doak Walker, as soon as he gets the award, you see this?
I'm out, dog.
I'm out.
See
It's
y'all.
like, appreciate it, Gundy.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this hardware and I'm going to hit the transfer portal and see what's out there.
Gundy's son's transferring.
Why not? More money out there, Dad. What do you want from me? Some other guys that are on the list. It would surprise you, I know, shock you to find out that LSU did not place any defensive players
I don't know.
on the first, second, or third
You'd
team.
think
even
after
though,
all
even
the-
though Perk could make a little
I was
run,
about to say, you
little
think
name
after all the
recognition.
hoopla with the Marvin Harrison thing, Perk has the name too.
I agree.
This
I
will
agree.
be-
and he had a pretty solid season for as bad as the unit was.
Yeah.
Oh, if you didn't have him, my lord.
Give up 100.
That interception in Missouri looks real nice right now.
Oh, it's a game changer. You lose to Missouri without him
I mean, Missouri's your best win by far.
by
Yeah.
far.
1-3 versus top 25 teams, and that one
Oh.
win is Missouri.
Top 10 teams.
Yeah.
Ouch. Ouch.
But that's, I mean, it's a little bit like the Vikings did last year and this year. Like in the NFL, they had Kirk Cousins on the Manning cast, but when you play that many close games, it's going to go one of two ways. Like you can,
Yeah.
it feels like you either win them all or you lose them all. And the Vikings last year won every close game they're in. This year you fast forward and it's the exact opposite. Every time you're playing one-score games, you're playing with fire. And it burned LSU more than it helped them because, I mean, you just can't stop anybody. But we will get some news coming soon, I'd imagine. We're getting to that TikTok, Mr. Wick.
Yeah. For real.
On Jay Daniels?
No,
on
coaching.
some-
Coaches
some-
are going left and right.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I saw.
I mean, they're like waiting until the last second.
I mean, can we go to what is it? Is it signing day? Is that what we're trying to make
Yes.
it to?
When
That's
is
what he
signing
said.
day?
Because Brian
The
Kelly's
20th?
going. Yes.
I mean, 'cause
Or-
that is.
hold on,
I mean, that's a week from Wednesday.
Yeah, the early side, I do believe it is the 20th. And you have to do the transfer portal thing. That closes, I believe,
Transfer pool. It's open for 30 days,
Right, so it'll close.
and it opened 2 Mondays ago, or it opened a week ago today.
Yeah. December 4th. That's
So-
when it opened.
So January
It'll close,
4th.
Yeah, like right after the first of the year.
So that's when you'll
Yeah.
find out.
Signing day
I
is
guess-
December 20th.
And they'll probably go through the bowl game.
Mm-hmm. And they're going in home with Don McKinley Wednesday, tomorrow. So you can't. I guess you can't
Yeah, there's a
make
there,
too many moves.
the
So
one.
that would be Frank Wilson and Brian Kelly.
Yes.
I mean, maybe Matt House.
The write-up had Frank Wilson, Brian Kelly, and Matt House on there.
Yep. Read the tea leaves.
Yeah. No more tea leaves need to be read.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
like,
all there.
hey, the book's over.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the last page.
Hate it here.
I mean, House is coming back.
That's what it
At
feels
this
like.
point.
That's what it feels like. But then I.
Oh, it just says Brian Kelly and staff member, so I think it's
Oh,
probably Brian
Kelly
Kelly
and Frank. All right, never mind.
Okay, we're
Matt
back.
House.
You're back in play.
I told you not to sell the house. Maybe you need to sell the house.
Who's that? Who is? Where are you reading that?
This is from On 3. This is I think this is Sam Spiegelman.
Okay. They
This is-
know.
He was out at the
State championship.
state
he was
championships. He
there.
knows where the talent's at.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think they will. I wonder to see if they'll wait until after the bowl game, or if this thing is done December 20th, or if it's because if it's after the transfer portal closes, the bowl game's January 1, so
Yeah.
you would still have 5 days to kind of sign, seal, deliver whoever needs to be delivered. Pack your stuff, get your cardboard box, your hat,
Co-DC.
your coat.
Who would be
and leave.
Who would be the other co-DC?
We're not co D. We're not co anything.
Co nothing.
Yeah.
It's a failed experiment.
I want to be co-champs at this point.
Hang the banner.
I would say, I mean,
Bradley Dale Pivoto's out there.
that's a good sign though. Going in house with McKinley on Wednesday.
I
I
mean,
mean, I think you can sneaky make a run at him. That would be a hell of a
Okay,
close
so-
if you get the top 2 defensive linemen in the state.
so Monday, which was yesterday, he had Tennessee and Syracuse, which is Elijah Robinson, obviously, is the defensive coordinator at
No
Syracuse.
way he's going to Syracuse.
I wouldn't think so either, but
That
you
is
know.
a cold, cold winter, Dom.
And then today it is Texas A&M head coach Mike Elko and the defensive line coach Sean Spencer.
Nah, see him. Get out of here, Mike.
And then tomorrow will be Brian Kelly and the staff. And then Thursday, Oklahoma, Brent Venables and defensive line coach Todd Bates. And then Friday, Texas is coming to town. Sark. So
That's the team to watch.
yep, that's the team to watch. I mean, he has the playoff to sell. He has a lot. He just won the Defensive Lineman of the Year award. So he's got some stuff to sell in Texas.
And that's the other thing you have to look at for staff changes is maybe some of these guys are still coaching. That you're trying to either woo over to LSU or you're just waiting to get in contact with them or they can't make an announcement until their their season's over.
For as much as Brian Kelly speaks with a lot of confidence and he's playing this timeline. I mean, like
Very close to the best.
he either is very irresponsible or he's got his deal done. I would say it's probably the latter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's too much on the line here.
I don't think he's
Not to have some idea of what it's going to look like in the next couple of weeks and months, and for him to, be as laissez-faire with the timeline, just like we'll get to it. Then there has to be something put in place. I will say that I do believe that there will be staff changes. I think that there will be some type of movement, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know if that's saying a lot of breaking news, but just from the standpoint that you can sense in reading and listening to what he's saying that is coming. And a lot of the roadmaps have pointed to this week. I mean, by what he has said. You kind of go back to what he said a couple of weeks ago. He was talking about, the life after post, that kind of the postseason life and calendar of a football program. 2 weeks ago, it was, really intent on player evaluation and exit meetings immediately after the season. Last week was spent primarily around recruiting. We saw the commitment of Gabe Relaford. We saw a lot of guys on campus. It still has its its shakeout of recruiting with Kelly going in home tomorrow with Dominic McKinley and continue to scout, kind of get into the transfer portal and find the guys that can work. And this week was going to be on evaluating coaching and talking about future. So, I really think that, Kelly is not, I don't think that he's tried to dupe anybody. I don't think that he's trying to, say what's, or hide what the, what's really happening up there. I think that's his schedule. That's his timeline. I mean, he's, had the exit meetings with guys and players. And, I spoke to a couple of players and, within those exit meetings, that there has been discussion of House coming back. So, in the players that I have spoke to, I think that the message has been, that House will be, coming back or at least planning on that. Cody Boudreaux with a $5 super chat. What did Scott Barabale tweet about Jaden Daniels' Heisman speech that warranted an apology? We'll get to that coming up in the second hour.
Pun on that.
Talk about getting ratios.
Yes.
Oh, he typed that thing up on a typewriter?
Scott,
I don't know why.
read the room.
Why?
All you need to know is look at his header on his Twitter.
What is it? Hold up.
Everyone needs deadlines. Scott is pounding the keyboard in an era that is far gone from what he is used to. And the Twitter, it's just a smaller keyboard on your phone, but when you hit send, it goes to everyone.
Walt Disney.
Per my last email, you hit send all, coach. Everybody saw it. That's when you just start tweeting a bunch. You just get it off your timeline.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he's been retweeting a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Bury it.
Get to work. Get to work. Get to work.
down.
I will not delete it. I delete
Bad luck.
nothing.
Bad luck.
Bad luck.
Bad luck. We'll talk a little bit about it in the second hour. Appreciate you getting involved here, Cody.
He used to send super chats all the time. Dune 2's coming up soon.
Wow.
So save up your money.
Dune 2 is coming out soon.
I know. We need to get
Wait,
Cody
is that
Boudreaux
on-
back in the fold.
Is that on Netflix or?
Oh,
or
no.
Max?
This is going to be big.
This is Big Max in it.
Yeah, you're going to leave with sand on your shoes.
Ah, damn.
4D.
Do I get the 3D glasses?
Oh, yeah.
Send them?
It depends on what you take. Might not need them at all.
Remember Daily, we're brought to you by our friends over at Hughes Mechanical AC. Hughes Mechanical AC is online at hughesmechanical.net. Get in touch with Travis Hughes this morning. They are a trusted Daikin dealer over at Hughes. 658 2147, 225-658-2147, or online at hughesmechanical.net. Headquartered in Zachary with an office over in the North Shore. Everywhere in between is where they service. Get in touch with Hughes Mechanical. Hughes Mechanical Contractors for your HVAC services, both on residential and commercial buildings. You can get in touch with Hughes Mechanical today, hughesmechanical.net. As we said, the AP All-American team named yesterday, both Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors on the first team squad. Brian Thomas made the third team. Brian Kelly was speaking a little bit about the Heisman Trophy winner and what this ultimately means for LSU. This is Brian Kelly speaking earlier this week, Stewie. This is number one of Kelly's presser talking about the Heisman Trophy and how it will be served as motivation here now that the award is won for LSU to perform in the bowl.
You have to look for things today when your goals are to play for championships at LSU. And, certainly when we did not have that opportunity after the Alabama game, you start to, recalibrate. And certainly one of them was to rally behind what we considered was the best player in college football. And, every player that is in our program knew that we had a special player that was having a special year. I can't say that was the singular motivating factor. We talked about, wanting to finish up and get to 10 wins again for a second consecutive season. But there's no question our players were motivated to play their very best for what we considered was the best player in college football.
More from Kelly, and now that the award is...
How bright is it in that room? Jesus.
I mean...
They got the spotlight on him. He doesn't look... That's a far different look than the one that you get from the LSU press conference room where he's a little bit more comfortable, but it just looks like they are beaming on him. Looks like he's getting interrogated.
Bright lights in New York.
Yes.
Heisman now, how do you use it for a recruiting pitch and use it for future players?
Yeah, I think you look at it, in a couple of ways. Certainly, both quarterbacks were, in an offense that allowed them to utilize their talents, but also to develop the talents around them. Outstanding receivers, so others benefit from this as well. It's not just singularly the Heisman Trophy winner, but this was a prolific offense as well. So I think what it says is that, the Heisman Trophy winner obviously is one thing, but it's also going to put you in a position to play in an offense that is going to highlight your skills as well. So I think it helps us from so many different facets, not only the individual trophy, but from, an offensive structure as well.
The successful campaign this year for the Heisman Trophy, you saw it really turn up for LSU going into the Florida game, or after the Florida game. It really turned up on its head for LSU as the marketing wheel really went into overdrive, pumping out a lot of content around Jaden Daniels, a lot of stats, a lot of numbers, a lot of things that you could really hang your hat on as far as things that qualified him to win the award. Here is Kelly talking about that campaign and why it ended up with the trophy in Daniels' hand.
Well, I thought his play on the field. Look, let's look at some of the key things that had to occur. One, he got knocked down and essentially taken out of the Alabama game. Was in a concussion protocol. In many instances in my career, quarterbacks don't come back from that and take time. He comes back with one of the most exciting and obviously historic games the next week against a rival in Florida. I think that in itself was probably what really catapulted our efforts to say, listen, we have somebody here that is so special that he gets up off the mat after a disappointing game and a physical game in which he gets knocked out and has this kind of performance. We need to go all in here. And I think our social media team, our entire organization led by Cody Worsham, Brandon Berrios, the entire team, they were outstanding in getting the information out, because that's what it was. It was good information, and it was factual, it was real, and I think because it was targeted that way and it was transparent, people saw it.
It was a fantastic campaign. I mean, how many times we recognized and talked about Cody Worsham's Twitter account or his social media or numbers and stats and facts that he was just putting out into the public. A lot of that was, stuff that couldn't be denied. I mean, it was, very, just factual, non-bias, no opinion, just things that were, non-debatable, and salute to that team, because it was, for what it was purposed to do. And the campaign was the point of it was to bring notoriety and attention to Jayden Daniels and really, have the public realize why he deserved the Heisman Trophy. And he was so deserving, in his play on the field, as Brian Kelly, I thought, spoke of very, laid it out, there on you have to have both dynamics, right? I mean, you got to have the brains, the wit, and the wherewithal of the social media department and the executives who were overseeing that, but you also have to have the play on the field, most importantly, right? And first and foremost, I mean, Daniels was the player. I mean, he was the guy. He was the guy that was producing the stats, producing the moments, producing the highlights, and LSU's team was just going to work off of his data and, pumping it out to the public, where it was, by weeks 8, 9, 10, 11 in the college football season, if you were someone who watched the sport, if you were engaged in it, if you were dialed in, you knew who Jayden Daniels was. And it wasn't just because you saw LSU football highlights. He was on timelines. He was on video. He was on he was on pre-post game shows. He was all over the place. And, again, the play on the field got him there. But, Worsham, his team, and the crew over at LSU deserve a ton of credit by, just the amount of media that they painted the public with.
And it's crazy that you even have to do that to that extent, because everybody's going to do it. So you're almost left behind if you don't drum up a campaign narrative almost for your candidate to win. It's like it's almost like politics.
It is.
I mean, Oregon started before the season.
They did.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people learned and was watching what LSU did in 2019. I mean, I think, again, they were the best team in the country. Looking back on it, they're the best team that's ever played in the sport. But a lot of it is because you know them. Like, everybody knows them. And whether it was through the hype video, whether it was through the social media accounts, whether it was through the videos that were being produced each week, I mean, it was a relationship. It was a relationship with a team that was established much more than on the field. I mean, we all call them by first name. I mean, like when you talk about them, in your social circles, and when you're talking and referencing them in the game. You're talking about Burrow, Jamar, Clyde, Shelvin, Delpit,
Terrace Marshall. You got to say his whole name. I don't know.
Say Derek
Patrick
Jr.
Queen, I guess. Yeah. That kind of rolls off. Fulton, it's like.
I did have a class with Terrace Marshall that year, though.
Good game, dog. Still open against Bama.
That year was so funny because one day in class, we were at D. Jacobs's class in the basement of.
Hell.
What is it? The building across from the Manship building. Lockett? Is that Lockett?
Wait, yes. Yeah.
Lockett. In the basement of Lockett.
With the basement that floods?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And she has the lights off watching a movie.
Matt 1001.
Watching a movie, and one of them tries to get up. And one of the football players tries to get up and leave, like, when the lights are off. And one of the ones, like, sitting next to me is like, "Where you going, dog?" And Dee turns the lights on. And she's like, "Where are you going?" And Mike, that's just like,
sit back down, dog.
Like,
it's
he
over.
just sits back down, like,
nowhere.
I'm just chilling.
I got my phone. I gotta
take this call.
Yeah.
Kayla Vaughn.
Yeah. What is he doing these days?
I don't know.
Is he still on
Arden Key had a sack last night.
I mean,
like, He was all over the place for Tennessee.
I mean, Duke Riley's making plays in
know.
Miami.
I can't wait to watch Hard Knocks next week.
Like,
Oh, this is going to be an incredible one after what happened last night.
No, they melted.
yeah, they did. I mean, D Hop was hitting them
Yeah,
big.
he was.
One
Will
of those,
Levis.
Yeah,
How?
Gamer.
I mean, this guy, dude.
First play of the game, pick 6.
broke up with his girlfriend, dog.
They back together. Once she got named the starter, she came right
she
back
comes to
around.
call
Oh,
him
you're
back.
not a scrub.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Are you going to be on TV?
Yeah, I can date the starter.
I just thought you were gonna be like a backup or something.
Yeah, you weren't playing.
I was just gonna go get a starter.
Yeah, you got one. But both games were. I don't understand the broadcast of running 2 games at once.
Yeah, I didn't get that last night.
You got the Tommy DeVito agent.
Oh my god.
Tommy
Central
DeVito's
casting.
agent. I mean, like, how did that guy look exactly like I thought he would? I mean, when they were like, "That's Tommy DeVito's agent," I was like,
Yeah,
"Get
it is.
the bleep out of here!" I mean, like, look at this guy.
So wait, how much you say you want to put on Tommy tonight?
Hey, who we got here? Hey, look, I'm standing right next to him. What do you want me to tell him? Hey, look, this is Busta over in Jersey. He said he's got the Giants minus the 3. You good with that, Tommy, or what?
DeVito, how many pass attempts we going? Over 38? 40? What's the number?
You gonna slide tonight, Tommy? You gonna take on the defensive back?
Hey, when you take a knee, it hurts your rushing yards.
I took you 25.
Hey, look, let me call you back. I got another call coming in.
All right, we good here. A nickel?
Yeah, I'm standing right next to him. What do you need? I mean, like, his personal book. Hey, Tommy, this is Bruiser from Jersey.
I saw you at the tailgate.
Look, me and the
there.
boys gonna watch the game tonight. Should we pull the trigger here or what?
Don't make me pull it twice. I mean, that is in the world of which now the NFL has.
I mean, did you see him like kissing and
Yes.
stuff?
Oh, that's
Kisses all around.
I mean,
Coach.
it was it was amazing that is Tommy DeVito's agent. Like,
it felt like a plant.
It's exactly.
I
what
love
you
how
would think
everybody.
Oh, they've all got
he
the
does
fun-
it now.
yeah.
Did you see Saquon when he was running out? Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets.
It's unbelievable that they keep winning. He played well last night.
He's good.
He's good.
I mean, like, Joe Flacco and Tommy DeVito have changed the course of the Giants and the Browns. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson and Daniel Jones are making $100 million, like, guarantee they're breaking the franchises. And they're going with DeVito and Flacco. DeVito's undrafted. Flacco was on his couch last week.
Yeah, Flacco was hanging out.
He's back on the practice squad.
Open for business. He's about to make another cool, like,
$1
5'10".
He's playing so well.
He is.
That's
And,
it.
like, he's slinging it. He ain't handing it off.
That's what's he threw it 48 times on Sunday. Flacco, you good?
This thing still works, dog.
I'm good right now, but he's terrible tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, but
Wait, how old is Joe Flacco?
38.
38.
I was about to say he's got to be in his 40s, huh?
I mean, said he was sitting at his kid's birthday party and somebody like stared at him and was like, "What's up, man? What's going on?" He was like, looked up and was like, "I still think I can play."
I think I thrown it in the yard.
Looking at his kid turned into prime
Got
Cam
like
Newton.
the cone hat on.
What am I doing here?
Like, I still think I can play.
How did my life get to this?
Yeah, I mean, that's what happened to Drew Brees. Every birthday party, we was like, I have so many kids.
Right,
what am I supposed to do?
What do y'all do? Like, who's
What do
going to
you-
clean this stuff up?
What do you do for fun?
You start getting sit on errands, and you're like,
Yeah,
I think
right.
I'm gonna go play football.
His kid runs past. He's
Hey,
like,
did
hey,
you get
you.
the cake? Yeah, I didn't get the cake.
He's like, hey,
What do you
you.
mean?
Come here. What's your name?
Yeah.
What do you do for fun?
You mind?
Hey, run this post route real quick. Let me see if I can put this one on
Cigar
you.
still got it.
Right.
Drew's just never mind.
That thing cracks every time he moves.
Green 90. Like at the kids' party.
Licking his fingers.
Check. Hot route.
Hot route.
Right.
Yeah. Turtle.
What he said?
Turtle. We're going slow. Turtle.
OJ.
Put the glove on.
Cut. OJ.
OJ is just a slow streak.
Yeah, football is such a funny sport because like just the stuff you
I mean,
hear.
did you hear last night Will Compton he was on the
Manicast?
and he said we knew Manning's we knew Manning's we knew his audibles because he was either calling a mascot or a city, and Manning was like, he kind of looked at him and was like, damn. It's like, how'd you know that? And Will Compton goes, TV copy, cuz.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was like, that's the biggest scouting. This is the biggest scouting hit in the league. Pick up the TV copy, and you got the mics on the field, and everybody gets
And you catch everything.
Everybody gets everybody's audibles.
I mean, they were on for the Cowboys-Eagles game. They were talking about Dak Prescott's cadence.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Said Hut. Like, it's, I mean, if you aren't watching the TV copy, you're kind of an idiot.
I mean,
Well,
really?
just from, like, the weekly, like, film team scouting department.
And Eli said it's illegal to watch the TV copy. He's like, what do you think we're doing at home? Like, we all watch football.
They can't
Yeah,
watch
he's like, I thought it was illegal to watch the TV copy.
Of course.
Compton, like, they're like, yeah, right.
Could you have a bigger juxtaposition of two different type of people than Will Compton and Taylor
Peyton and
Lewan,
Eli.
and then Peyton and Eli? It's like, oh, they said we couldn't watch the TV copy. It's like, cuz. Yes, you can. Mom said I
Been doing
couldn't.
that since 2012, God.
Mom said I couldn't.
Been doing that since college, bro.
Yeah. Wait, y'all watch the TV copy?
They say in the rule book you can't. Like, I'm tatted up from my neck to my toes.
Katie's in New Orleans. Remember our restaurant down there. Next time you're in New Orleans, stop in and see Katie's. Great New Orleans favorites. You can stop in and see them on the menu, as well as the cold beer. They've got open 6 TVs as they're open on Sundays, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Embracing the new Sunday schedule. Get over there and watch NFL. Saturday, Sunday slate in the NFL this week with no college football. As they'll
move.
split it up
Good move.
between Saturday and Sunday. So if you're looking for a spot to post up and watch the game, get over to Katie's on Iberville Street. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Don't forget about Francesca's, the sister restaurant, the Sandwich Deli over in Lakeview. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com. All right, Brooke Kirchhofer talking New Orleans Saints next. We were in the Dome. We told you it kind of felt like a funeral, even though they won. A lot of boos. Carr going back and forth with the offensive line. They're talking about it in the post game. Brooke and the crew from New Orleans.football was there. We'll talk to her next here on the show. Make sure and give us a like, share, follow, and make sure you're following New Orleans.football on YouTube. Coming at the crack of New Year's on January 1st, we will start airing this show 7 to 9 a.m. on New Orleans.football. Incredible the numbers that has risen. I talked to you a couple of weeks ago when we formed this partnership. The YouTube numbers were sitting at around 48,000 subscribers for New Orleans.football. And make no mistake about it, that's a big perk and a big draw for us. We're going into a bigger audience, right, for our live programming. The Jordy Culotta Show channel will still exist. We'll be cutting up highlights like, for instance, today's Brooks interview and Wilson's interview. You'll still be able to find that on the channel here. You'll also be able to find some cool segments, some funny takes, some good opinions that we may have. We'll cut those up and put them out still on the same schedule and how we've been kind of putting them out there. But 7 to 9 a.m., we're going to be with New Orleans.football. And as we said, 2 weeks ago when we made the announcement, they were around 48,000. Last I checked, they had just crossed the 70,000 barrier. So, I mean, like, it has been an incredible response since moving and making the announcements of heading over there. We're trying to get to 100,000 before next football season, and truth be told, if you can get to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, it really changes from an advertising standpoint, right? I mean, we're going out, we meet with advertisers, we meet with, you know, the people over at Pierce Bespoke and Katie's and Go Roof and Hughes and Ochsner and Barker Brothers and Southern Regional Medical Center and Daniel Newman and Edward Jones and Bo White and Click Here and all of our great sponsors, Walt Hidalgo and A-Bear Specialty Meats, City Cafe and Dirk and Cody, all of our great sponsors. But if you get to 100,000 subscribers, you have advertisers calling you, more from a regional, national level. So, that's, if we can get there, that would be a big push and, obviously something that would be enormous for us just 3 years into doing this and having the opportunity to team up with somebody like Nick and New Orleans.football is awesome. So make sure you're following them. Come right back with us. We'll talk to Brooke Kirchhofer from New Orleans.football about the Saints, what's next in the NFL here as the Saints and the rest of the league come down the stretch here in the second half of the season. We'll be
Saints
back.
play the Giants Sunday.
Hell yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy V.
Hell yeah, they
coming
do.
to town.
Hell yeah. They're coming to New Orleans?
Yeah. The whole family.
Tommy DeVito, bring the crew. I got a place for you.
We got some cutlets cooking up at the pregame.
Wow. By the way, Giants throwbacks are
elite.
Oh, I forgot how beautiful
Saquon looked beautiful running.
those. I mean, like everything, the numbers, the color, the whole thing.
The
man.
Saints and the Giants should wear their throwback uniforms as their home uniforms.
I agree.
That should be their home.
I agree. The Saints need to make sure that they need to go back to the retro helmet.
And put the Louisiana logo on there.
patch.
Yeah, you do the
Put the boot on there, baby.
They do the retro. I mean, like the uniform. I thought was. Do we have Brooke?
Yeah, we
She,
do.
yeah, we don't need to take a break. We can talk about this with Brooke right now.
Favorite Saints uniforms, go.
No, I mean, I thought the throwback on. First off, like, I mean, I think this is how you make money in the NFL. If you want, just go back to your retro uniforms. I mean, like all these teams, Seattle's are beautiful, Denver's is beautiful, New England's is fantastic.
10 out of 10.
Miami's are beautiful.
Miami's are their best uniforms. I can't believe they don't wear those every time.
San Francisco's
Yes.
With the black.
are gorgeous.
They got the white and the.
Yeah. San Francisco's the best uniform.
I
in
even
the
think
league.
the Arizona throwbacks that they're going with the all whites this year are fantastic.
Arizona's uniforms are like probably the best in the best new uniform.
I had forgotten how classic New Orleans are. And they went retro on Sunday, and it was a fantastic look and a win. And the only thing that was off about it was that the helmet was current. They were using the current helmet base rather than using the retro helmet, which I thought would have made it a 10. It was an 8.5. Brooke is with us. Brooke, what'd you think about Sunday's look in the retro uniform?
I felt the same way about the helmet, and so did the players. I remember when we were in there on Friday, some of the guys, so they have if you don't know, we kind of like play this game, media. Every Friday, the equipment guys put together, they feature one of the players on the mannequin. And so I think this week it was Cam Jordan. Could have been. No, it was Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was the guy they featured.
Yes.
And so you see the combo uniform, and we all were looking at the helmet like, last week, or like when you're I don't know. It's one of those things that, yes, if you're gonna go full throwbacks. Like, you can't have, in my opinion, I heard you guys talking about the best throwback uniforms, it's got to be the Kelly Greens, the Philadelphia Eagles.
yes.
Great call.
And you wouldn't wear
Great call.
That's
you
the
wouldn't
one.
wear like the forest green or whatever the regular green is called helmet with the Kelly
wingtips.
Green.
Yeah, that would look dumb.
Come on.
Yeah.
So
I get what you're saying.
It's easy to
Saints
forget
gotta get it together with that.
It's easy to forget about Jimmy Graham because he's been in and out of the lineup. But when he's in, the guy's a force.
Yeah.
Brooke, explain this. Why does he not play? Why is he not in the game more? Because he's so effective when he's there.
It's a great mystery, and we continue to badger Dennis Allen, even Pete Carmichael, about it, that when Jimmy Graham is in, you look at his target to catch ratio. Every time the ball is thrown his way, he is catching that ball. You even saw the one that was a highly contested catch in the red zone that he was able to make last week. And we asked Dennis Allen after the game, we asked Dennis Allen on Monday, can you maybe just say, hey, we made a bad decision by keeping him inactive? Because, let's be honest here, the Saints, when they have players on that active roster, it's because they can do multiple things. But if Jimmy Graham is that effective on your third down packages and in the red zone, can't you accept that he's maybe not a guy you put down on first and second down, or even when you guys first get on the field? I mean, he's that effective in the red zone, and when this team is struggling so mightily in that area of the field, you would expect them to put this massive human, Jimmy Graham, who to me is not washed. So that narrative of people thinking that during the middle of the season, because he was inactive and it didn't make sense after Green Bay when he caught that touchdown pass. But with the injuries that the Saints have, we do not know if Taysom Hill will be back this week. Rashid Shaheed may be closer to being back. Michael Thomas will not be back this week. You're still down a lot of guys on offense, and you haven't been getting a whole lot of production from your other tight ends in Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau. I would expect that Jimmy Graham will be up, or he should be up and active for the rest of the games for the Saints this year.
Brooke, I was in the Dome on Sunday, and look, they were waiting to boo. They wanted to boo. The fans did. And I say this with all due respect. Is there anything positive to take away from a win that was long overdue? I mean, they needed to get a win. They got one. And a lot of the aftermath, a lot of the in-game feeling, at least from my point of view and being there, was a lot of negative. Is there any positive? that was taken away from it?
Definitely some positives that you can take away from it. Specifically, you saw more pass rush, and Saints blitzed on 37% of the plays. That looked like they had about 15 pressures. So when you look at it from that point of view, sure, there's a lot of things that you can take away from it. We did see Jimmy Graham get more involved. Chris Olave was involved. You did see how much you missed Taysom Hill, but credit to Jamal Williams stepping up and Alvin Kamara as well in the run game. But you talk about this feeling almost more negative after the game. People talk a lot about the media's opinions about games. Let me just tell you what the players felt. When I went in that post-game locker room, I had a hard time phrasing it to players, saying, look, it almost felt like this game was always out of reach, or that the Panthers were one play away from clawing back in. It seemed like that it was just one of those games. How did you feel about it? And Eric McCoy said it was a grimy, ugly, gritty win. It was one that Dennis Allen wasn't necessarily pumping up in post-game. He was pumping up the fact that, yes, it was a win. They can get back on track with just the win. But when you look at some of the numbers in the stat sheet, if you saw it, you wouldn't think that the Saints won this game. They I almost said the Giants, who they're playing this week. The Panthers rushed for over 200 yards. And usually when you do that in a football game, you win that game. But because Bryce Young only completed 13 of his 36 pass attempts, his own downfall and this offense's downfall. Honestly, I feel so bad for this rookie quarterback in Bryce Young because there's no direction on that sideline. He is somebody who is going to need some drastic help to get back on track for next year. I don't know what they need to figure out in Carolina, but they're in a much worse place than the New Orleans Saints. And you saw that. You saw an offense that had plenty of opportunities. The Saints were giving them plenty of opportunities to stay in this game, but their passing game was just really poor.
What did you make of the exchange between Carr and McCoy? I know that was a lot of the talk in the post-game press room. What was your point of view of it?
It looked like frustrations had finally reached a boiling point. Derek Carr was tired of getting hit. The offensive line was tired of him getting hit. And what that means to me is the offensive line was tired of Derek Carr kind of holding and staying in the pocket for so long and then just throwing it away. They were giving him a clean enough pocket in the Superdome against the Carolina Panthers. And we didn't necessarily get full clarity, but it looked like somebody missed an assignment, obviously. It was either Cesar Ruiz or Eric McCoy. Derek Carr was on the ground. As he was getting up, he's kind of firing off to the guys and walking back. And Eric McCoy just said, enough. You are not just going to sit here and castrate players in games, because we've seen it happen with Chris Olave. We've seen it happen with Pete Carmichael back on the sidelines when they were in Houston. And Eric McCoy, just whether he was sticking up for himself or his offensive line as a whole or another player, like I mentioned, Cesar Ruiz, excuse me, it just had reached a boiling point. Now, Eric McCoy was very apologetic. He said that they went to the sideline pretty immediately and sat together on the bench and hashed it out and said, look, everybody's good. No hard feelings. Let's move on and finish out this game. But when you see that at this point in the season, you wonder, is there things going on in the locker room? Are guys kind of fighting back and forth in the locker room? They weren't willing to say that those conversations are happening, but we'll see. You're welcoming in a Giants team that is just struggling. I was looking at some of their stats today. Points per game, Giants are 31st in the NFL. They're averaging 14 points per game. The Saints are averaging 21 points per game. As far as just passing yards, the Giants are dead last in the NFL. I mean, this should be a game that the Saints are saying, all right, great, let's win out from here. The Rams is going to be a tough game. You're going to have to go to the Bucks after that, and then you've got the Falcons at home. If the Saints can string together these next few wins, there is a possibility that they are in the playoffs. They are in a three-way tie in first place in the division. Of course, they do not hold the tiebreaker right now. They would have to beat the Falcons and, of course, beat the Bucks and then see what happens from there. But it's still wide open. Crazy enough, at 6-7, the Saints team still has a playoff picture.
Wild. The defensive performance on Sunday was impressive. You mentioned it. Look, Bryce Young in that offense for Carolina, the whole organization seems lost and feel sorry for the first overall pick out of Bama. But what did you make of the defensive side of the ball? Because I thought at times they had the dome moving. I mean, they had the dome rocking for what they were doing on the field.
Yeah, they took the defense again. It's the slow start. It took the defense to kind of get into it until about the second quarter. I was really impressed with the guys who stepped up in this game, like Isaac Yadam, who has been filling in for Marshawn Lattimore. I felt like he had a really good game. Nephi Sewell, when he got in at linebacker, looked great. And then, of course, he was in on the blocked punt that they later said was a fumble, but the blocked punt. And then DeMarco Jackson, who I'm not going to lie to, I forgot he was on the team. DeMarco Jackson with the scoop and score and the touchdown right there. I mean, that's something you're going to need, especially when a team has been struggling like it has. I felt like the defense did a better job in the game. They still have a long way to go and a lot to improve on, but it was at least a positive step when you are missing guys like Marcus May, who's on IR, Marshawn Lattimore, who's on IR. You really cannot afford any more injuries to the secondary, because right now, backing up Paulson Adebo, Isaac Yadam, and Alante Taylor as the corners is Ugo Amadi. After that, the Saints might have to go out and grab somebody and this late in the season. That's going to be really challenging to do, bringing somebody new into your defense and learning your scheme. But if they can hold on and stay healthy, especially Cam Jordan, who was on a snap count on the defensive line, this is a team that they have all the parts and they have all the talent and the things that we've been talking about from the beginning of the season. And because the division is just so bad in 2023, they do have an opportunity to continue their season on into the playoffs. It's just in the Saints' hands now. You got to handle business against a really bad Giants team this Sunday in the Superdome. And then you go to LA, where I don't know if you guys watched that Rams-Ravens game. I mean, the Rams were right there in it against the Baltimore Ravens, who are a really talented team this year in the NFL. They are going to be in the playoffs. So the Saints are going to have a tough task there. Then they get a little break for Christmas. And as I mentioned, you finish off with the Bucs on the road and then the Falcons at home. I think they have an opportunity to figure it out, but they've got to figure out their run defense, because you cannot allow a 200-plus rushing yard game. Again, it's going to be hard to win games when teams are able to run the ball at will on you. The only benefit for the Saints in this game against the Panthers is their offense is so bad throwing the football, that they were able to get away with the win here.
Brooke, Mickey Loomis joins pretty elite company with becoming the 9th executive in league history to join the 200-win club. 22 years on the job. In his current role, he's been with the organization nearly 25. What do you make of his latest accomplishment?
It's a big win, and even Mickey Loomis kind of joked about the loss total as well in his post-game speech, if you heard it. But no, it was an emotional time for the general manager, and it's an emotional time not just because of the feat that he reached, which is incredible for him. Not a lot of NFL GMs have reached that goal. It's a tough time because of the decisions he is going to have to make at the end of the season. These are guys that he's worked with for 10 plus years, Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen. And depending on what happens with the rest of these games, I don't know if he makes a decision in season now, because the Saints playoff picture is still very clear. If they would have lost this game to Carolina, we were wondering if Monday a decision would have had to have been made. So I can't imagine the emotion and the stress Mickey Loomis was feeling Sunday, that if the Saints would have lost that game, not only does he not celebrate that 200th win, but he's having to make really, really tough decisions. And I think those conversations are absolutely happening. I know Saints fans are frustrated because they felt like he should have pulled the trigger soon and made something happen earlier in the season, but that's just not the way Mickey Loomis has been. If you know anything about him and how he's kind of run this organization over the last 10 plus years, he's somebody who is going to put it all together and wait to have a real clear picture of what the future holds and also what's best for the team. I would expect if they did make a decision in season, this is something that we've been talking about over at NOF, is who'd be the interim coach, and it would likely be their special teams coordinator, Darren Rizzi, but I don't think we are going to see that at this point. I think Carolina was likely the last. If they would have lost to Carolina, that would have been when it happened in season. But I think if the Saints win or lose any of these next 4 games, I don't think a decision will come in season. It will likely be after the season, which is like I said, a tough spot for the general manager who's trying to celebrate, a really, really great feat and still having to make sure that he's keeping his emotions out of it from that perspective and make a really, really tough decision at the end of the season.
Brooke Kirchhofer, get over to NewOrleans.football. Make sure you're following them on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed. Nobody covers the Saints as good as the team of Nick Underhill, Brooke Kirchhofer, and the crew, Mike Triplett, and everybody over at NewOrleans.football. Make sure you're following them. Brooke, thank you as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Look out for the DeVitos this weekend, why don't you? There she is, Brooke Kirchhofer checking in from NewOrleans.football. That conversation brought to you by our friends over at A-Bears Specialty Meats for holiday specials, turduckens, turkeys, sides. Get over to A-Bears, located in Gonzales and off of Highland Road at Robert's Grocery Store, in Robert's Grocery Store. Remember the great gift cards specials that they run right now. For every $100 that you spend on gift cards at A-Bears, you get a $25 gift card for free from our friend over at A-Bears. Stop in and see them. Highway 30 in Gonzales and Robert's Grocery Store off of Highland Road, right next to or right behind Superior Bar and Grill over on Highland. More, hour 2 next. Come back with us. We'll talk to Wilson Alexander coming up at 8:15.
Wilson!
Save us.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, or a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, the roof up?
Roof's up. Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Well, the Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
Okay, Gordon, ready to talk a little bit about yourself today? Okay, good. Tell us, who is Gordon McKernan?
Great question. In a lot of ways, I'm just like most people. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a son. I am a brother. I'm a Christian. I am a Tigers fan. I am a Louisiana sportsman. But above all, I am grateful to the people of Louisiana. We want to be your lawyers for life. Hi, I'm Gordon McKernan. Everyone has a special Christmas memory. One of mine is when I woke up on Christmas morning, ran down the stairs, and there it was, a brand new red bicycle.
That is why this Christmas, Gordon McKernan is giving away over 425 bicycles throughout the state of Louisiana.
To register, please fill out a form online at GordonGives.com or GetGordon.com. And make sure to visit the Get Gordon Facebook page for additional details and chances to win. From all of us here at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, Merry Christmas and God bless.
Offensive player of the game from LSU, Joe Burrow.
Football is life. Football is Joe Burrow.
Finishing us! Let's be special! Let's be strong! Let's spell greatness from the top! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Hey, Chino. Cut my headphones up, bro. Yeah, right there. Now I'm focused on getting deposits. Evil in the way, now I'm just driving around it. They said I need a soul searching, I already found it. I unlocked my other side, now I'm sounding astounded. Drive by and let it ride like I'm whipping a Tesla. Pressure never fazed me, cause I'm bigger than pressure. I'm on my grind, bullshit, can't fit in my schedule.
All right, welcome back, Hour 2, Jordy Culotta Show. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you starting your day here with us. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. Crazy games last night on Monday night. Tennessee beats Miami late in that game as Derrick Henry caps off the comeback with a touchdown run. Titans win 28-27, down by double two scores with like 2.5 minutes left to go in the game. And then in New York, the Tommy DeVito train is going wild up there. The Cousins were up there cooking cutlets before the game. The Giants end up winning last night, 24-22.
Did you see Tommy on TV last night?
Tommy, I knew you could do it, Tommy.
DeVito,
You've always been the one.
clutch.
You've always been the one.
Brought him back. Living the high life today as a New Yorker and the starting quarterback for the G-Men. But if you like classic movies, then you know about Coming to America. Coming to America is a classic. An Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall flick back in the late 80s. This is when Murphy's just pumping out comedy after comedy after comedy.
Hit after hit after hit.
Coming to America, one of his best. This is the movie where he plays all 5 characters in the barbershop.
He does.
Which is phenomenal. But he is Akeem, the prince from Zamunda, who comes to America and ends up working up at McDowell's. Not McDonald's. They have the Big Mac. We've got the Big Mick. He ends up working at McDowell's and falls in love with the owner, McDowell's daughter, Lisa McDowell. And while he is like working at McDowell's, he goes in and he's acting as if he's mopping the floor. And he explains that he went to a Monday Night Football game where the Giants beat the Packers from Green Bay. We have the clip. This is from the late 80s of Eddie Murphy explaining almost the exact scenario of what happened last night.
The script is leaked.
30 years later.
Sir, I was wondering, did you happen to catch the professional football contest on television last night?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was most exhilarating. The Giants of New York took on the Packers of Green Bay. And in the end, the Giants triumphed by kicking an oblong ball made of pigskin through a big H. It was a most ripping victory. Sir, I was wondering, did you happen
know what
to
he
catch
tells
the
him after
professional
that?
football contest on television last
Son, have you been tested for drugs?
But could you imagine never seeing football and then seeing football? Like,
No.
This is exciting, I think.
That's crazy.
This is cool.
Like an oblong football through an H.
Yeah, that's all the Swifties watching Travis Kelce
I'm telling
play.
you, man. When I watched the Beckham documentary, I still was taken back of how psychotic their fan base is.
Oh, soccer is like
It's crazy.
Soccer and college football are like
it's
the
the
same
SEC.
thing.
It is SEC.
Like they'll fight, they'll take their shirts off, they'll
Yes. I mean,
get
it's
as
life and
drunk.
death.
Yeah.
I mean-
It's an LSU game,
Oh,
a 7 p.m. kickoff in Death Valley.
I mean, imagine if
every
you had.
weekend.
I mean, that's like if college football. I guess you kind of do, but if you had relegation in college football, if LSU could be sent out of the SEC for a year, if they finished last in the division, could you imagine would have the
Wait,
stakes?
that's how that works in
Yeah,
soccer?
Relegation.
So if you don't do good in your
Yeah, like
league,
Vanderbilt's
Vanderbilt's
out.
oh, you gotta go, dog.
And somebody in
absolutely.
Tulane would be in.
Ah.
Like the people in the lower leagues can move up in the Premier League, so where you're playing with the big dogs.
That's
Now
pretty
you're
fire.
now you're in the money.
Mm.
You know, I mean,
You went from making
Right,
$20K a year
exactly.
to making
200K.
you, you were a AAA baseball player, and you just went to the bigs.
And it's the World Series Game
You're-
7 every game.
You were riding a bus. You're riding a school bus. Now you're flying private.
Yeah,
Damn, soccer's different. I gotta get into the soccer world.
Yeah, you got to find a team. Like I guess people
The
always.
Beckham documentary is
It's
a way to
elite.
get
it's a
in.
good. I mean, it's a fantastic documentary. I would recommend it to anyone.
David Beckham.
David Beckham.
David Beckham on the pitch.
Okay.
He couldn't have started his career off with more of lightning in a bottle.
I
That
mean,
first goal was unbelievable.
Unreal. His story.
It's
His
insane.
life, his just track. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, Beckham is.
It's
I'm
the-
a huge
it's-
fan.
like Beckham.
I love him.
It's the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift thing, just on a national scene. Like it's in soccer, it's even bigger than in American football is. But
like,
it
when
was
him
Posh
when him
Spice and
the Spice
David
girl
Beckham.
get together. I mean, like you think. I mean,
And
the
he was-
paparazzi.
Oh,
What about him, like driving down the?
6 hours to go see her for 30 minutes
Yeah.
and coming back for his game.
He would
Wow.
drive 6 hours, spend 30 minutes with her, and drive 6 hours back for a game.
Oh, he loved her.
He did.
I mean, that's
Seville
love, man.
Jr. I have not seen an episode of Ted Lasso. I heard it's
Me
good
either.
though.
I have not either.
No, it's good. First season's great. Second season's good. Third season, I don't know, people kind of got tired of it. That's like everything. If it's good, people just get tired of it and they're like, oh, it's not good anymore. And I'm
Right.
sure it was
Whatever.
just the same. Yeah.
Coming to America, I'd recommend.
Yes,
I mean,
for sure.
Who's that? Is that John Amos who is playing
Yeah.
Mr. McDowell? I mean, what an animal he is. Eddie Murphy is in there. I think James Earl Jones
He's
he plays
the dad, the king.
Yeah, he's the king.
Son, you have to
Arsenio
come
Hall,
His
Eddie
best
Murphy.
friend, yeah.
I mean, it's a classic. Dude.
The hot
Good morning, my neighbors.
Just couldn't have put him in a totally different
it's
spot than what he
unreal.
was used to.
When as soon as they get to Queens, they put the luggage down. They go inside to check in the hotel. They come out and everybody robs them.
Everything's
It's
gone. He's like,
People are walking up to him with gold. it's
that's
unreal.
mine.
Right. All right, Wilson Alexander covers LSU, NOLA.com. Speaking of Queens, he was up in New York this past weekend in Manhattan covering the Heisman Trophy ceremony as Jaden Daniels and LSU win the award. An LSU quarterback walks away with the award for the second time in 5 years. Amazing. That is an amazing stat, thinking of the absolute dark ages, ice ages that LSU was in offensively just a couple of years ago. Now to have two Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks in just the scale of 5 years is amazing to be discussing with our favorite, Wilson Alexander, who's here with us every Tuesday, checking back in this morning. Wilson, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, y'all. Doing well. How are you guys?
Doing great, man. Wrap it up. How was the Big Apple?
It was awesome. I mean, it was Jaden Daniels' first trip to New York. It was only my second, so it was really fun. But it was really just surreal kind of seeing, like you said, an LSU quarterback for the second time in 5 years win the Heisman, and everything that Jaden Daniels had worked toward come to fruition, and this sort of culmination of all this stuff that he had done really since last year. I mean, over the course of his entire life, really. It's not just necessarily a one-season thing that happens. But, he comes back last year and decides he wants to come back to LSU and doesn't want to be the same quarterback. And to go out and do all of this was just incredible. It was really watching him kind of throughout the weekend embrace it. He wasn't necessarily uncomfortable with any of it. Jaden's, as we all know, kind of quiet, a little bit more quiet. He's not necessarily brash and boisterous or anything, but just sort of trying to take it all in every step of the way was really enjoyable, having gotten to cover him on a daily basis for the last 2 years and see all the work that he put in really pay off.
It's been amazing to see the hype machine of LSU go into overdrive once again. Wilson, to see it in 2019 was kind of surreal. To watch the country fall in love with that 2019 team a lot, for how they were performing on the field, but really moreover because of the relationship that people were forming with them through social media and through, the media that the school was putting out. What did you make of the campaign that LSU put on for Daniels, and ultimately how much of a difference do you believe that made in this race? I mean, Burrow was a runaway in 19. They could have, really kind of hid themselves and he still would have won the award. How much did putting Daniels out front for the last 5 weeks of the season matter?
It's hard to say exactly and quantify, what kind of a difference it made, but it certainly didn't hurt anything. I mean, LSU, as you said, and as everybody saw, did such a good job of sharing Jaden's stats in particular, and just putting out there basically his case for the award. And that started, really kind of in the middle of October, when they started formulating what their plan was going to be. And then they got him in on the bye week to do a lot of the work that we ended up seeing kind of from the Florida game on in particular. That was all sort of coming together on the bye week in terms of the interviews that he did, filming him in the XR studio that is on LSU's campus to create some of the content that they had. And then, just continuing to push that out with, the website. And it was interesting, in 2019, the media landscape has changed. And so LSU did a 10,000 word story on Burrow and a 4-part video series. This year it was a little bit different, where they didn't do that big long story on Jaden or anything like that, but they had the 4-part video series kind of telling his life, and then the website with all of his statistics, and really trying to harness what is a kind of a different media landscape than even it was in 2019. And they did a good job, I think, in terms of getting all of that information out and doing it consistently, drumming up interest in especially with a billboard on the day of the Pac-12 championship game. It got people talking, and obviously it was probably more so what Jaden did on the field and what happened with the Pac-12 championship game with Oregon losing that seemed to kind of solidify things for Jaden. But it didn't hurt what LSU did to campaign for him, and they really should. They really did a good job, and I think a lot of people recognize that.
Do you expect to see him again in purple and gold?
Yeah, I would be surprised if he plays in the bowl game, just because, what do you really have to gain from playing against the 7-5 unranked Wisconsin team when you've already elevated your draft stock to possible first-round status, maybe even possible top 5 pick status, depending on, that's got a good ways to go here but between now and the draft. But he's really turned a lot of heads in the NFL world this year, and so I would be surprised if he plays. But he hasn't said one way or another yet. And so, got to wait to kind of hear what Jaden is going to do in that regard. I mean, all weekend he was kind of asked about it here and there once when he was doing the stuff at Raising Cane's. Again, even after the award, after winning it itself, he was asked if that would impact his decision to play in the bowl. He just kind of smiled and said, we'll see. He's trying to enjoy the moment. And so he was artfully and respectfully dodging that all weekend. He kept saying that he was going to talk to his family and make a decision. So I'd expect that to come sooner rather than later, because LSU started bowl practice yesterday.
Wilson, what do you make of what happened to Malik Neighbors? You called it last week. We asked you directly with Marvin Harrison getting the invite to Manhattan. Does that mean that he's going to be the Biletnikoff? And you straight up said you believe so, and we agreed. And then to watch it happen Friday night was still a punch, I thought, and it felt very. My heart went out to Malik Neighbors in that moment, and still, know that has to have residual effect. What do you make of what happened to him, and will there be any fallout? Because I have heard since that the process maybe should be examined this offseason in award voting in college football, because it feels like lifetime achievements rather than individual yearly awards.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing too much change in the process come just as a result of this, because there's been these kinds of situations before. It just seems that like this year, LSU fans and really got behind Malik so much that it made a little bit more noise. And it may be also because we're seeing that on a local level. It stood out more to us than maybe it has in the past. People not winning something, and even if they're very deserving. And as we've all said, like Marvin Harrison is a fantastic player, but Malik had such a strong statistical season that it certainly was, it was disappointing for him more than anybody else. And, I think he was pretty torn up about it. As I think we talked about last week, like he had a picture of the Biletnikoff trophy on his weight rack, and he looked at it every single day from like throughout the offseason, because he was talked to Jake Flint back in January. Jake was asking, the strength coach all of their goals, and one of Malik's was to win the Biletnikoff. And so Jake Flint put that picture of the trophy on his weight rack as something for him to look at every single day and fuel him. And that was something he really wanted. And he said about it, I ain't say no finalist, I said winner. And so it was something that is certainly, maybe something he'll have to try to turn into more motivation as he starts to head into, most likely his NFL career, because we saw also his tweet about it saying like he's going to remember that. He was certainly upset, and especially because Marvin Harrison, he only won by one vote, and it was that close.
Wilson Alexander joining us from The Advocate. Wilson, with bowl preparation beginning yesterday and getting out on the practice field, Brian Kelly really acknowledging it, but how important are these practices really for, beyond Daniels, Neighbors, and the headliners here? What is the true advantage of these plus 15 practices that LSU gets?
Well, it's particularly for the guys who haven't played a whole lot this year, and anybody who's coming back next season to get further development. Someone's coming. I think of someone like a Mason Smith, even, who has played a lot this year, but can just use more and more practice coming off those injuries, not quite having maybe the season that he expected to have or was expected to have. But also like a lot of the young guys, just getting them and into more reps and kind of figuring out what you have going into spring practice next year. Shelton Sampson comes to mind, and maybe like a Kylan Jackson, really see what you have maybe a little bit more with him because he was injured for most of the year. Really all those freshman receivers and Troy Holly and Caleb Jackson and maybe some, Kamorian Pimpton, a lot of the freshmen and the guys who didn't play in particular, you're able to get to a better sense, these coaches do, of what these guys have. And maybe we'll end up being able to see more of them in the bowl game too. But even if we don't, they at least are able to get 15 practices in that are good for their development. And that's a big bonus when you start going into next season and you start to think about and look at all of the ways that this roster is going to change and who's going to be needed to be counted on. That stuff kind of really starts in bowl prep. Especially because these bowls aren't as significant maybe as they used to be in terms of just the game itself. It's more of an exhibition, and really it's more of almost a preview in some ways of 2024. And you can start to look ahead a little bit more, and that's an advantage for sure.
Wilson, from the younger player's standpoint, as you mentioned, what did you make of Quincy Wiggins putting his name into the transfer portal?
Yeah, that was a shame, I think, for LSU to lose out on lose somebody who physically and athletically is as gifted as Quincy is. But it was also maybe not necessarily a total shock when you start to look at where he was on the roster and the fact that he'd only played in 9 games over 2 seasons. Ahead of him at that defensive end position, you got Savion Jones most likely coming back. And then, Paris Shand emerged this year as his backup and as a role and situational player who had a pretty solid season and certainly flashed at times. And then, you got Deshaun Womack behind him. And even though Deshaun's someone who kind of go defensive end and jack as well. And, he's in the mix. And so there's just a lot. And then they signed, obviously they just got Gabe Relaford committed, and Gabe Relaford's a defensive end too. And so it just feels like maybe this was, if you're just kind of looking at it, anyway, from my perspective anyway, it looked like Quincy was probably looking at the depth chart and realizing like he's starting to get squeezed a little bit. And, it's certainly a shame because, that's somebody who has a lot of athletic talent, like we said. But maybe he can go for somewhere where he can maybe continue to get developed a little bit more and have that talent brought out of him and start to get some more playing time, because it seemed like it wasn't coming here with only 9 games played over the last 2 years. I mean, we barely got to see much of him at all.
Yeah, a trip to Houston, a visit to Houston for Quincy Wiggins after going into the portal may seem like a good fit for him. Wilson, when you look at this bowl preparation and you look at the younger guys as well, anticipate any other names as far as the portal goes, or any surprises for you up to this point as far as the portal is concerned?
No surprises up to this point, because it's like everybody who's is entered is basically someone who is further down the depth chart and going somewhere for playing time. Like you look up Marlon Martinez, who entered, I think it was the same day as Quincy, right, on Friday. I mean, that's somebody who, certainly had a role on this offensive line as a veteran backup, but with 1 year of eligibility remaining, needed to go somewhere and play, because he probably wasn't going to play here after not getting a starting job this season. And with everything that LSU's bringing back on the offensive line and all the guys it's continuing to bring in with what Brad Davis is doing there in recruiting. And so everybody, it's like guys like that and LaTerrence Welch, who, maybe if he stuck around, he could have earned a role, but he hadn't yet. And so it makes sense to, go and transfer to Arizona State like he is. And, other guys like that get a fresh start somewhere. And so no surprises yet, because it's everybody who's transferred. It's clearly like trying to find playing time. I would certainly expect there to be more transfers. That's just kind of the nature of how it goes. Who those specifically are, I don't have a firm idea necessarily, but probably I would be surprised if it's, big stars, guys on the 2 deep who do that. Probably guys like this who can, continually, are for a little bit further down the depth chart. Obviously, some of these guys like Marlon was on the 2 deep and that kind of thing, but next season might not have been. And so hasn't been any surprises really yet, and it'll probably continue to be guys like that, and we'll see kind of what the final number ends up being.
Brian Kelly said last week when he was meeting with the press, over the last 3 weeks, it's been evaluation. There was exit interviews with the players 2 weeks ago. Last week it was recruiting. This week it was evaluating on the field and some coaches. What do you anticipate he's saying, and is there a timeline that you believe he's operating under? If so, what is it for making some changes?
It's his timeline and his timeline alone. And it's I think it's something that really only he knows, and is going to kind of just operate as he wants to and sees fit. And I think that's kind of the thing that's going on here. We're all expecting there to be changes of some kind, but it's going to be up to Brian Kelly ultimately as to when those are made. And he's been kind of moving the goalposts around. When we talked last Tuesday, he was about to have a press conference. It seemed like, okay, hey, maybe we can get some answers here. And he gave some passionate responses, but never gave any hint to what he was thinking whatsoever. And even trying to the only maybe hint that we got was when he gave the answer about how he had Brian Van Gorder at Notre Dame in 2016 after 4 games, and saying how if this was that easy being one person who he thought was the problem, he could have made a change. He doesn't think it's just one person who is the issue from the sound of it, that being Matt House. And so it's a little bit more complex from the way Brian Kelly talks about it. And so, we'll see kind of how this ends. It sounds like he wants to get through recruiting first. As he said that they're going to be out on the road, and he said these coaches still have responsibilities to LSU, which was an interesting use of phrase. And, so maybe once they get through recruiting here this weekend and the dead period kicks in and then signing day hits, then maybe we'll start to see some movement. It feels like that might be maybe the timeline. But Brian Kelly is the only one who I think really truly knows kind of what timeline this stuff is going to happen on, because it's ultimately up to him as to what he wants to do and when he wants to do it.
Last one, Wilson, I'll get you out of here. You mentioned recruiting. They land Relaford last week, and then they go in-house to Dominic McKinley tomorrow. What's the possibility that they could close here and land the top 2 defensive linemen in the state?
Well, we'll see. Dominic McKinley, from as far as I know, didn't back on campus much at all this fall, if at all. And so they, I think, got a further way to go with trying to flip him than they did maybe with Relaford, who seemed to look like there was more buzz around Relaford for a little bit while longer than there has been about McKinley, who seems like he's been a little bit more solid to Texas A&M. But this is certainly, we've seen a lot of movement on Texas A&M's defensive line all the way from top to bottom and into recruiting, of course, with LSU even flipping Relaford. And so it's maybe not out of the complete realm of possibility. We'll see, especially when you're talking about an in-state guy. And gosh, would that be significant if LSU could get him? Not only just being the number one player in the state, but at a position that LSU really needs to build at with defensive tackles. And so that would be huge if LSU can somehow make a late push here and flip him down the stretch, or at least get him to think a little bit longer. Because it hurt at the time for LSU when he went out of state, even though it wasn't a shocker necessarily at the time that he committed, because that seemed to be where he was leaning, was going somewhere else. But if they can get him to change his mind and come on back in, Jimmy Lindsey's been out recruiting, and so maybe he can make a little bit more of a difference here now that he's back and healthy and recovered from his condition. So maybe that would be huge if LSU could end up doing it.
Wilson Alexander from the Advocate and NOLA.com. Follow him on social media at WHAlexander_. Wilson, thank you, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Wilson, did you get that pizza?
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.
Did you get the pizza, Wilson?
Yeah.
You're talking about the
New York slice?
Yeah. Did you get your New York slice?
The great reference.
No, I unfortunately didn't, because it was closed. But I know. But I saw it and I was like, oh, yes. And then I walked over there and it looked like there was nothing happening. But I still had to get the picture at least. I love the office. And so that was one of the highlights of the trip.
It might be a New York landmark. The
If it's
Sparrow.
not, then it should be.
Yes.
Later, buddy.
Yeah, that's great. See y'all.
There he is, Wilson Alexander, checking in from NOLA.com and The Advocate. Conversation brought to you by Go Roof, online at GEAUXroof.com. Remember, our friends over at Go Roof can help you today with a brand new roof. They can repair the roof that you have as well. Get in touch with them at GEAUXroof.com. That is GEAUXroof.com. Go Roof, a beautiful roof every single time. 225-927-8300. Whether it's commercial or residential, our friends over at Go Roof can help you out today. They'll jump up on the roof. They'll work directly with the insurance company and take the headaches out. In fact, if you get in touch with them right now and you need some roof repair, they'll be out and see you today. 225-927-8300. That is residential or commercial roofing. Like we said, if you just need roofing repairs or maintenance, they can take care of that as well for you. Online, GEAUXroof.com, 225-927-8300, 225-927-8300. You get a 2-year free workmanship guarantee every time you work with Go Roof on new installations. So make sure and check our friends out over at Go Roof, GEAUXroof.com. We'll be back more of Hour 2. Jordy Culotta Show live here from Click Here Digital.
Only ones that really matter whose side they hip. They tried to push it to the side because they thought you would quit. May bend but never break, your cloth is legit. When you return in rare form, they all gonna be sick. You ever seen a living legend, just know that I'm me.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on. Did you do it? Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Head health is incredibly important for our student athletes. One of the best ways we're trying to address concussions is on the front end. We're trying to prevent these before they happen. And a big part of that is speaking to the athletes, letting them know what to expect. Okay, speaking to the parents, what to look out for, talking to the coaches so they know the vital importance. Some of the big things we're looking for with a concussion, which is, a traumatic brain injury, is one, was there a mechanism? Was there an injury that took place that could lead to this? Often a direct blow to the head, a head-to-head hit. If someone's showing signs of concussion, our first step is always to remove them from activity, get them to a place where there's less stimuli, where we can really just sit down and get a feel for the athlete, what they're feeling. We're looking for headache, we're looking for dizziness, any sign that coordination is off, that something's just not right. Get a good evaluation of them to understand what's going on. It's not worth the risk that may be there to kind of ignore it, because there are very serious consequences if we don't treat a concussion properly.
Don't let concerns about shifts in the market disrupt your long-term financial goals. Edward Jones financial advisor Daniel Newman can help. He'll work with you on an investment strategy for long-term results. Edward Jones can give you the tools and knowledge for a steady approach to hitting your financial targets. Get started today by calling Daniel Newman at 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by Hebert's Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, Hebert's Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. Hebert's can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. Hebert's Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah. sticking the roofing.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, roof up? Roof's up. Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. Well, the Oscar Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
Slow grind like IT, just know that I'm it. Now I'm back up in my bag, I'm giving them fits. Bounce the bat like John Morant, you know that I'm lit. Making plays like Jack Bash, I'm never gonna sit. Had to be patient, so I waited for the situation. Now that I'm focused, I'ma take it with no hesitation. The hard times that I hated gave me inspiration. Look in the eyes from my kids gave me motivation. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up.
Welcome back, Jordy Culotta Show.
It puts him in a bad mood.
Tuesday edition of the show. Talking to Brooke and talking to Wilson here on our regular Tuesday guest cycle, brought to you by Southern Regional Medical Center.
Contingency of LSU fans in New York.
Yeah.
New York? A lot of people live in New York.
Last weekend I was saying, that was the part I couldn't get over. But, I mean, we teamed up with the Alumni Association this year and did the Football Friday thing. Joe Carbolito, Lauren Giffen, and that team. And one thing that, you realize is the chapters and the amount of people in a LSU alumni basis. Like, when I was talking to them about, we were just kind of getting the plans together for Football Friday, and they were kind of laying out what they had coming up, what we had coming up, and just kind of, trying to coordinate our schedules. And, they're like, we have to go to Pittsburgh. We have to fly to Pittsburgh for an alumni chapter meeting. I'm like, how many people are in Pittsburgh? They care
Enough
about
to
LSU,
fly
and
up
you're
there.
like, and they're like, it would shock you. You know what I mean? But it's it's crazy. And when we went to, and I've said this now, I think this is the fourth or fifth time I've said this over the last 2 weeks. So I apologize for the repetition, but I mean, really and truly, the assignment of going to cover Burrow's Heisman Trophy ceremony was one of the coolest things I've ever done professionally. I mean, just by getting the access to that, the LSU contingency that was up there, that flew up there, but then getting there and realizing there is purple and gold everywhere. And beyond, LSU had done a great job of marketing the school and Burrow. They had Times Square advertising space. I mean, every 90 seconds, it was rolling purple and gold ribbons and Burrow and LSU football and the logo. I mean, it was powerful, man. I mean, it was LSU had kind of taken over New York for the weekend, but it was. We went to Legends. We got there. I think we got there on a Wednesday afternoon. We went early. We got there on a Wednesday afternoon and stayed till Sunday morning because we did radio shows Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday, kind of leading up to the ceremony. And the most shocking part was the amount of people that live in New York that are diehard LSU fans that would come to the radio show and not only, be like, that they're here for, like, they listen every day, they keep up with LSU sports, they are passionate about LSU. Just the amount of people that lived in the city that loved LSU I guess it's not shocking, but it was definitely surprising to see. But then, you think about it, if you travel anywhere and, I've been lucky enough to, travel internationally and go, I've been to Italy, I've been like Costa Rica, just kind of places off the map, and had either like an LSU hat on or an LSU dry fit or something. And it never fails.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Like somebody somewhere in an airport, on a street, in a coffee shop, in a cafe. It never failed. We were in Tuscany. Yeah. I had like an LSU just kind of like dry fit, long sleeve, just, something comfortable to walk around in. And
you'll see somebody else in the purple and gold, the three letters, and you're just like, oh.
Forget stateside. You know what I mean? Like
international.
Like New York. And a buddy of mine lived in San Diego, and the San Diego Crawfish Boil, LSU alumni, it has like 10,000 people that show up. Now, I think it's like Southern California, right? But he's like, dude, it's like a game. It's like a tailgate. It's like, and it is huge to see just the amount of support. And they do it's all Louisiana themed. So it was definitely surprising for me to see the takeover of LSU in New York and the following behind LSU in the city. When I went up there 5 years ago, and I can imagine that it was the same. We were talking about Raising Cane's and Todd Graves did a promotion on Friday where all three of the finalists were working the counter at, or all four of the finalists were working the counter at the Times Square Raising Cane's, and those people don't know that Todd Graves went to LSU. The people who live in New York, they don't know that Todd Graves is.
I'm sure some of it has to blow their mind, because it's such a big city,
right?
And they're just like, "What the hell what is this LSU? What's Jaden Daniels? What is this?"
But
movie star,
Jacques was rolling his camera, and the whole line. Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Harrison. They're just kind of standing at the register, waiting on somebody to walk up, and Jaden Daniels has a line out the building.
He's working a double shift.
Because of just the LSU fans that were there. Now, look, man, I got to imagine that Ohio State, Washington, and Oregon has a nice alumni base in New York City, but LSU is just different. I think, sure, we're inside the forest. Maybe we can't see through the trees, but it never fails. I know when I go somewhere and I have any LSU paraphernalia, if I have any LSU gear on, somebody makes a comment outside of this market. Go Tigers.
Uh-huh.
LSU. You know what I mean? Like Tiger Bait. Something. It's always there.
But that's because I was looking through Wilson's Twitter, and it's not. I would imagine some people maybe travel to New York for this. Maybe it's vacation, whatever, that you want to go to New York at this time. Or you want to go to see, I don't know if you base your vacation around the Heisman buzz, but I imagine some people would. But it's not that. It is people that are already in the city that live in New York that are crawling to get into Legends because it was packed from wall to wall. My buddy Truman Van Veckhoven runs the alumni chapter up there, and
Truman Van Veckhoven,
he could fit in any room.
Rush chair, nice to meet you.
Yes, but he was doing some radio hits and stuff. So I texted him, and he's
what a name.
We were out until 5 a.m. and now I'm back here again. It's I might as well not have left. But it's a whole to do to put that together, and I didn't realize the chapter was so big up there. And he's like, buddy, it's huge.
It's huge. I'm telling you. I was floored when we went up there. We were going to every night. We went to some type of LSU themed party that was in some little inconspicuous door walk in off of the street.
Speakeasy.
Down. Yeah, like it was wild, man. I mean, it was awesome. It was a great assignment. I mean, I was
missed you in New York, buddy.
Yeah, I was bummed I wasn't there this year. I mean, it was, and I love New York. I mean, I think New York's kind of a, it's kind of a it's kind of like a polarizing taste. I think you either love it or hate it.
Right.
I mean, Kelly, she doesn't like New York. I mean, she's like, I've only been once and she hates it. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I could live there.
But it fits your style.
I would have loved to have lived there like 23 to 28.
Mm-hmm. And just grind it out.
Like, just, are you for real or not?
Right.
Like, can you wake up every single day, grind it, and, like, put it in? Like, I mean, literally, yeah, right. Literally, I mean, if you can, it has the feel. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Right.
Right.
So you're an ant in an ant pile.
Sure. Like, go figure this thing out.
And get out the way.
It did stink.
Oh, the trash is everywhere.
It was
horrendous. That's part of it. There's no intention to make it clean.
Yeah.
That's just part of the charm.
It's only 7 miles wide, which is wild.
But they couldn't fit more people in there.
No, it's sardines, man.
That's what Nashville is terrified of. Like, every time you go there, they're like, the amount of people that have moved here, it's.
Well, the thing about that, you have more space. You can spread.
But the other building, they have to build more.
They're
building on top of each other. So all the local Nashvillians are livid about what's happening. Same thing happened to Austin like 10 years ago, where it became you have to move to Austin.
Yeah.
Like, that's what everybody, whenever I graduated college, they were like, we're moving to Austin. And it became like this
commercialized.
Flea. Yeah, it was this flea to keep Austin not weird. And so then it just found another hot little bed that is up and coming metropolis, and then they hate it because everybody moved here.
Right.
But
I mean, I think like New York has been ruined. I mean, all the big cities in America have, like San Francisco, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Atlanta, New Orleans. I mean, they're all run over by bad leadership, crime. I mean, the cities are not what they once were. But
what do you do?
I digress. All right, so LSU basketball. What's LSU basketball play again?
Which one?
Men.
No clue.
They play tomorrow at home, Alabama State. Get your tickets now before they sell out.
How about that?
And then a big game at Texas, December 16th.
Yeesh.
I'm calling the upset.
This team miss a point guard.
Yeah. Well, you have one. And then the women's play tonight. McNeese State Cowgirls at the Tigers. No Haley Van Lith, no Poole.
Yeah, Kateri Poole off the team. Haley Van Lith dealing with some plantar fasciitis.
I think you'll start to see, I guess Poa would be next up at point.
Yeah. Man, they've gone through some depth, man. I think that was one of the selling points of this team going into the year is how deep they were, and to lose Samaya Smith, to lose Kateri Poole.
Van Lith on the shelf.
Van Lith is hobbled here early, is digging into the depth that is, it's kind of cracking through now. I mean, you're really kind of a seven deep now. I mean, if you think about LSU and where they were potentially 9, maybe even 10 deep going into the season, now to be heading into the first of the year.
They're in a great stretch for Van Lith to get healthy, though. McNeese, Northwestern State.
And then kind of a holiday,
Fork
right?
up.
I mean, you're all off for the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, then they have these 4 non-conference games: McNeese, Northwestern State, Coppin State, Jacksonville, and then January 4th they start conference play with Missouri at home. So that's you could give Van Lith essentially, what's that? Almost 2 weeks off.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks
to get healthy, because plantar fasciitis ain't nothing to.
Well,
there's only one way to treat it.
Yeah.
Rest, ice, elevate, recovery.
All right, everybody, have a good Tuesday. Make sure to hit that like, share, comment button. We appreciate everybody being out there. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Please subscribe before you get out of here. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Jacques will be here in his typical Wednesday spot. Be a video call for JD tomorrow, and we'll get the latest recap on New York, what his thoughts were about being up there and watching Jaden Daniels take home the Heisman Trophy, what he anticipates here in this bowl preparation, and we'll preview LSU basketball versus Alabama State. All tomorrow coming up.
And recap LSU men's.
The men's are tonight?
Yeah. Oh, wait. No.
I said men's
women tonight.
Yes.
Yes. We'll recap the women's and preview the men's.
Back tomorrow morning. Hit a like, share, comment. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Brought to you always by RMB.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't gotta flex. Call up G, we get it done, we earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in, where they going next. Throw up the L's, now we lit, band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live, mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah, Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta